Alright, hello, welcome back to the channel, everybody. We're back here for another just game dev night. A lot of sounds are happening right now. I don't know why that ice maker just started screaming again, and I don't know what the person in the unit below us is doing, but I think they're just like maybe doing something in the kitchen if it's in the same unit as ours. But if you hear like a banging sound, I don't know what that is either. But it like just started as soon as I went live, so that's amazing. But yeah, we are just going to chill and do more of a gameplay focus, not scripting necessarily. I don't have the energy for that after this week, but we are going to do some nav editing, some spawn adjustments, and some cover placement, as well as like placing pickups. And I do want to get like the regen health for our hot spring kind of situated as well. So we're going to do some initial first playable stuff here in our arena. And for those that don't know, we are working on remaking for educational purposes. I'm not gonna package and put these out there, but I do like remaking maps that I liked growing up, as I am a level designer now, so I do like remaking them in like Unreal Engine 5 and trying to find out what specifically about their layouts just drew my attention and held them so much so that I know the basic concepts to go forward with in my designs. No matter how experienced I get, I think like revisiting the basics is always a good thing. So yeah, we've done one of those already. We remade the Forsaken Fortress. We took it through concept blockout gameplay and then an initial very rough designer art pass, but I do want to work on making that prettier, so we will be revisiting that map probably in about a month. But I want to do tonight's stream and then our stream next week. I want to focus on the gameplay for the Spiral Tower stuff, and then for the next like month of streams we'll focus on the art pass stuff for both Spiral Tower and for the Forgotten Fortress one. So that is the plan for our game dev streams. I've also shifted the day from Wednesday nights to Thursday nights because I used to do game dev streams on Thursday nights, and we've also had to move so many streams from the current Wednesday setup to Thursday anyway, because I either like to front load stuff in my week and get stuff done work-wise, or emergencies keep popping up at the start of my week. And then I don't necessarily want to do them Friday nights, because Fridays I either want to go crazy or I want to go to bed, and not necessarily have steady plans on Fridays, because I never know what condition I'll be in at the end of the week. So Thursdays I think feel pretty good with my current like schedule and things, so we're gonna try it out this month. If we don't like it, we can go back to Wednesday nights, or we can look at doing a different time. I do want to, if you are a fan of like my streams that are earlier in the day, I do want to do occasional game dev streams on the weekends still, like maybe every month or two. We're kind of focused on playing some life sims right now on our weekend streams. Hopefully I can get Sims 3 working this weekend for us to play that. But yeah, we're focused on some live sim streams, and then the Nintendo Direct happened. If you guys want to see my reaction to that, it is up on Twitch and YouTube now, I think, as well. It's uploading. I think I made like one change to it, so it's like we will need to reprocess the video for the next 3 hours. So it's probably up now, but if not, just give it a day or so and I think it'll be fine. But yeah, here we are back in our Spiral Tower map. If you have not played Kid Icarus Uprising, I wish I could have said today just play the Switch 2 version. That'll definitely come out, but Kid Icarus maybe was not announced at all in any capacity at the Nintendo Direct the other day. And then Sakurai is announced to be working on Kirby Air Riders, which is fantastic. He's going to, I think, breathe a lot of life into an already like cult classic game for Nintendo fans. And I think he's gonna give it that breath of life that he gave the Kid Icarus franchises with this game. So I'm glad, but I just have a feeling that unless they have already found a suitable team to take on the next Smash Bros entry, because they definitely will make one eventually, I feel like they're gonna pull him back into Smash Bros after Air Riders releases, which is set for sometime next year. Possibly account for delays, account for like how long Smash Bros development time is, and the fact that like after every game he said he's wanted to retire for like the past 2 decades. So I don't know if he'll come back to Kid Icarus. I know he has said he wants to see Uprising like remade and handed off to another studio that he can trust with it, and then if more franchise stuff were to come out of that, he'd be supportive of it. But he would definitely support a remake first, and he like keeps winking and nodding towards that, but I think it is a possibility he's just as in the dark as the rest of us, and he genuinely does not know what the plans are for that. It's hard to imagine that, but the game industry is crazy, so it could happen. But yeah, that kind of just encourages me to be like, you know what, because I was also contemplating making like an open world before the direct hit. I was contemplating making an open world UE5 map and connecting different Mario Kart courses together for fun. And I'm not saying I'm never gonna do that. In fact, I might try to make one out of like a different set of courses than what we get in Mario Kart World, but seeing that I was like, okay, like that's moved a little lower down my bucket list now that something exactly like that is being spoken to into existence, and it's being released very, very soon, being this summer. So yeah, I was like, well, I don't need to do that. So admittedly, if a Kid Icarus remake got announced with the arena mode, it is possible I might have just wrapped up these levels and then put it down and been like, well, I don't have to do it anymore. So maybe it's just not meant to be announced until I finish this little project here over the year. That cup drink fellow looks mighty handsome. This dude, oh, he is a bow user. He must be pretty cool. How you doing, dude? What you think about that Nintendo Direct? I was just saying, no Kid Icarus. I don't think we'll ever get it now that Kirby fans won, and I'm very, very happy for them, but I think it just sealed Kid Icarus's fate forever. Until the last 5 seconds. What was the last 5 seconds? I don't remember. Was it Donkey Kong? Did he upset you? Or was it them saying you have to wait a little bit longer? The keycard physicals. So the thing about those is there's a lot of misinformation about those going around online. A lot of I saw it mostly on TikTok, because like I came out of that direct and I'm like, okay, some stuff they hid about like the pricing and stuff and made it a little more confusing, but for the most part the information like started actually spreading online about like stuff, and I'm like, okay, that's how it is. And then I go on TikTok and they're like, can you believe Nintendo's gonna charge you $200 for every game you ever purchase? And they're like, Nintendo wants to break into your house and murder you. And the comments were like, oh my god, this happened to my friend last week. Miyamoto ripped his head off. Like, that level of intensity of misinformation, and I'm like, what is going on? So the keycard thing is something I've seen a lot of, and that is not going to be for every physical game, I believe, unless they rolled something back from what I saw the other day. But they are supposed to display a Ronnie to Nintendo's wrath. That's true. I can attest to that. But yeah, they're supposed to display kind of similar to how you can buy Switch 1 cards, and they'll say online version, and it will be like a digital unlock, but you can still physically buy the cartridge, so they have something to sell in stores. Like they do with like some Rockstar titles and like third-party ports and stuff, and Kingdom Hearts tragically. But yeah, there's that system, so this is basically the equivalent on the Switch 2, except it lets you transfer data easier on that cartridge. But it is still a digital unlock of sorts, but that is not going to be every game, especially first-party Nintendo titles. Looking at the box art for all of the ones announced so far, they don't have that, like, little, keycard like icon on the box art for those, so those will probably actually, I know the first party Nintendo titles are going to be true physical cartridges, and the reason I know that is because they are charging $10 more for them than they are for the digital versions. So that's how I know real physicals exist. That's like the I'm not defending the $80 pricing, because I know people will say some very lewd things about my love for Nintendo if I were to have an opinion on that, but like, it's not too insane considering Tears of the Kingdom was $70, and they're at least pricing Donkey Kong at $70, so I don't think it will be every first party title. Consoles more than I would have liked, but it's reasonable. But it's the $90 physicals that I think maybe sometimes physicals for Nintendo go on sale. Maybe I'm guessing they'll go on sale more in the future, because I can't imagine they're going to sell well. I don't see myself, and I love physical media, but unless it's like a new Zelda game, or they finally release Kingdom Hearts on true physical cartridges, or it's a collector's edition of some sort, or a game I make one day that ends up on a Switch 2 cartridge, I can't see myself, unfortunately, buying a lot of them. Like, I want to get the Mario Kart bundle for the Switch 2. That's definitely going to be digital, I think, so I'm gonna get that. My day one things I want to get are Mario Kart and Deltarune. And other than that, like, anything that comes out afterwards is just kind of going to go in a backlog for me, because the other thing we'll be playing will be Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom and those upgrades, which are included in the expansion pack, and the GameCube stuff is included in the expansion pack. So it's like everything there is like either only digital or just by circumstance I'm gonna get it digital, so sadly I don't really think I'll have any cartridges on launch day. Yeah, I like buying, especially for sales, I like having like physical media and stuff. But the convenience of digital is definitely, we're seeing a lot of that. I just didn't, if anything, I thought maybe it would be the other way around for some reason. I'm like, well, maybe they'll have like the physical stuff be cheaper. Oh, we gotta yeah, I guess we have to rebuild the nav. They're a little confused. What is happening with the nav? Hold on. But yeah, I thought it would have been a bit different. What in tarnation do we got going on here? There's not some like collision there, is there? No? Is there something under the map? I guess we're gonna have to go into landscape mode. I didn't want to even touch landscape today. If we just flatten out this part. Okay, it's auto rebuilding the nav. Like I thought it was. If I just like, for fun, place a ramp here. What in the world is happening? Oh, the editor's gonna be fun today. It's gonna be fun today. Okay, it generates nav there. So if I do... What could that be? Oh, you know what? I think I know what did that. But I moved it. That's really weird. I was messing around with... So I do want to place some cover on the tower. So we're actually going to grab one of our little castle pieces from the kit we're using on Forgotten Fortress. And we're going to just use it with the spline tool also built into that kit, and we're gonna put it around the tower. So I was placing that there for fun, for giggles, and it didn't update the nav with it. If I delete it, will it? No, that didn't do anything. Oh, it made the problem worse. Alright, you know what? That's exactly what I... Let's just reload the level. Oh lord, it really made... It's just stuck like that now. Why did it like permanently leave a mark on there? I wonder if that's just with the landscape. Let me go ahead and place this here. It's updating the navigation on there. Let me just put it near the spawn for fun. I mean, it's supposed to be updating. Maybe it's if I Control Z out of it, it doesn't. Could Control Z? It is Control Z! Well, what do I do now? What do I do with that information? Do I just have to... Can I just replace the nav mesh? Where's my outliner? I was gonna get actual work done today, I swear. Or can I just... Oh, it fixed... Just shifting it around fixed it down there. But not the recent one? Keep you over there for now. But I'm still in a bit of shock that we didn't get a new 3D Mario. I'm not angry because it's great to see a 3D Donkey Kong game again, and I think it is really interesting that they I would have liked to see something like similar to Rare again, but I get they're trying to go back to classic Donkey Kong and also make it its own new generation. So I get it. Guess we'll just leave that there. I wonder if I reload the level, what will happen? But yeah, them going with putting it all on the Donkey Kong. And I thought we were kind of done with the Odyssey era. Okay, reloading the level and then moving the nav mesh fixes all of that. It's very weird still. We'll have to be careful with the spline tool. But I really would have thought that they would have moved on to a completely like new concept. I don't think it's confirmed. I need to watch more of the Treehouse stuff. I don't think it's confirmed to be the same like project or team or assets or have any relation to Odyssey, but for me it's the crystal material. I'm like, that's Odyssey, and like the role that he does and the way you're moving around the environment, even though it's technically different mechanics, just the way it's like designed and the way the animations are, I'm like, this is Odyssey. This is just Odyssey, which I know a lot of people wanted Odyssey 2, so I do hope that that also plays into it. But maybe they are going to do something really different for the next 3D Mario. And it's going to be, maybe it's almost like a Breath of the Wild level, like genre reboot for Mario, so they just need more time to cook. So you obviously need some launch window Mario-esque title. Technically they have that with Mario Kart World being on launch day, but being able to have a platformer on there. We'll see how Donkey Kong does. It is perfect timing with it is perfect timing with the Donkey Kong part of the amusement parks being released. We need a piece of cover right here. Let me just make sure that Nav's working. Can they follow me around? They will once my teammate dies right there. Come here. You can run in the water, right? It's knee height. They're gonna kill me! But yeah, things I want to do today. We're only gonna stream for like 2-3 hours because I do game design full time, so I've been designing levels all day and in meetings and talking all day. So I am the EP. Oh, I need to re-smooth this out after I kind of butchered it. The things I want to do is place the spline for kind of cover on the tower itself. I thought I had the template set to not load. We shouldn't be seeing that in gameplay. But yeah. Place the cover on the tower, place the healing in the water, place pickups in general around the map. And then what I want to, I guess if we have time, we could keep running into bugs all stream and not have time for this. But if we have time, still. Then what I'd like to do is place additional pieces of cover that aren't in the original map, and we'll put them under a separate sub-level, and we'll call it cover revisions so that we can toggle it on and off. So if we want to play the map and walk through it as it originally was, to my best estimate, on the 3DS, then we can do that. But if we want to play it with the adjusted cover for the Lyra template specifically, the biggest difference being Lyra is a third-person shooter with a lot of movement and very long-range items and very quick respawns and quick deaths. Light versus Dark tends to be a much more high stakes game mode where you can set, I always set the health to be high so that matches were longer. So yeah, you could have a lot more health, and then it was mostly melee combat. If you had a long-ranged weapon, there was usually a delay between using it, so that it wasn't, I felt like it wasn't ever really about headshotting people. I don't remember there being a difference. It was just like one general hitbox. It was more about the amount of times you hit them rather than where, which maybe disgusts the average FPS player, but yeah, it kind of just felt like just attack them anywhere, because it was built, the shooting portion of it is like 0 headshot bonuses. I was gonna say, I feel like we would have been nasty. We would have been nasty if there were headshot bonuses. But yeah, there's such an emphasis on melee. I think that's why there's not. It's kind of like you'll do the same damage either way, so you might as well. It encourages you to get up and close and encourages like running across each other. But given how open this is, if I stand around and I see somebody, I don't get the chance to run up to them in Lyra. They'll shoot me, and the game is over. I am hoping to follow some tutorials, and the thing is, I'm not a programmer. I have an allergy to code, but I did code a little bit in Fortnite Creative to get like a scoreboard in a level, and then did a little bit more for some renovations on Oz Tycoon, so I was like, man, I'm starting to dip my toes into programming again. I don't know what's going on, but I've coded like 3 lines of stuff. So I'm like, you know, if I could find where the right values to tweak are in Lyra and follow a tutorial, I do want to make the template more melee focused and lower. I want to up health in general and lower the amount of damage all ranged weapons do. That way, even if it's just like the pistol whip, I think is the melee option we have right now. Even if you're just like pistol whipping, yeah, then that's like our main source of damage, and we could like double that to like nearly kill somebody with one of these. Well, your gun won't do much. Only thing is the AI is already very buggy, and I think they wouldn't behave well with that. They would still focus on shooting, so we'd have to like really up health to counteract that. So yeah, it's a big question of balancing and programming. So no ETA on when I'll have that stuff ready. It might not even be for this round of maps. It might be later in the year that I get around to that. But that is something I want to do for this template before we call it quits, as I do want to attempt to redo some of that stuff. Because Kid Icarus doesn't play like Lyra, because it's better. And I miss it. If I knew how to recreate Light v Dark, I would have done it already. So the best I can do is just recreating the maps. But yeah, that is the plan. So let's start with the health. So we're the health pickups here are supposed to work, right? The thing about Lyra is some of these pickups just fully do not work. I don't know why, but they do not. So we made a jank version of it. That's technically one of these healing volumes. Yeah, it's technically one of these like healing volumes set to a higher amount, and then we just made the mesh itself invisible and lined it up right at the bottom of this. So basically, if you like are taking damage, then you can just like, it makes it kind of infinite use, unfortunately. But since it's just me playing, and I don't really have to worry about balance, I just have to worry about how it shows the illusion of balance, then this is just for me to take care of myself. But we've also got, so that is like every time you step on it. But for something like the hot springs in Kid Icarus Uprising, which are a feature in the main campaign, the single player mode, but they don't have any maps in the arena mode that have a hot spring that you can kind of like continually heal in small amounts, of course, and in an open area so that you can't camp there. But yeah, I was kind of surprised going back through. I'm like, man, one of these levels should have like a hot spring, and I'm like, wait, there's pools of water in several of these levels, but they don't heal you. So I think this map is kind of perfect to try this idea out, and if it seems like a good idea to me, and if it doesn't work, I want to know why. I want to know why it's a stupid idea, like firsthand. So how we're going to kind of fake this and implement it is I want to drag that volume out along like the bottom of it and kind of like extend it. That way when you're standing in the water, you get those heals. But put it low enough so that, I think this is the lowest point of the map anyway. But yeah, you don't want to be standing somewhere else on the landscape and just randomly start getting healing, you know. They have a similar thing, so whenever we get around to making the lava basin level, which I don't think I even put that in the vote, and I don't even know, is that one of the ones I asked you for screenshots of? But we have a damage volume, so this would essentially be like your environmental hazards that take place over the space of an area. So this would be like what I would use for lava if you fall in it. I think lava's usually like an insta-death. Which, what, with the who? Did I get screenshots of lava basin? If not, don't worry about it. I think if I didn't request them, it's because that one's pretty simple layout wise anyway. So I don't think I'd need them as much. I'm just trying to remember if lava basin was a top priority for me or not with the arenas. I only asked for 4. Okay. That's fine. That's probably all I'll be able to get to for a little bit anyway. That's why I didn't ask for every single arena, is I'm like, well, I'm probably not gonna get to them all that quickly, so 4 is a good starting point. But yeah, here we have our weapon pickups. You start with a pistol, so we don't have to necessarily put pistols up. Then you've got, you know, your shotgun, and you've got your rifle, and you've got a debug, kind of like development weapon. It's like a net launcher that you take damage on, which I really like. But it has a long reload time. Okay, it's not doing so well today, but it usually is cooler than that. So we'll place some of those too, but let's start with our hot spring. Actually, I should make a gameplay level. Yeah, let's create new empty level. Spiral tower or ST. Set that to be always loaded. Set template to be blueprint, because we don't need to see all that. Let's grab this healing volume. Let me look at the details and see, is there any way I can scale this up that's LD friendly? Nope. Then we're gonna do it the messy way. We're gonna do it the very messy way. Hopefully this works. Hopefully. Yeah, where's the volume? Yeah, we should be good. I will eventually hide the mesh, but I want to make sure I see where it's hitting here. Let's spawn in. Someone shoot me, please. Thank you. Okay, she's not doing it. Excellent. This is why we playtest. Now, did the volume not get moved with it? That might actually be it. Is the volume not scaling at all? Why? Oh, because I have to use the radius. Do I want to use radius though? I don't think I want to use radius because I want it to be flat. Yeah, it's the volume. Yeah! Okay. I have another idea. Maybe. Actually, these use the volumes too. Is there not just a gameplay of like volume? Try to look it up. Pad heal. Child healing. I'm gonna open the blueprint. Nobody scream. Nobody panic. I'm going to open it. What do we got going on in here? And if the volume was just sphere collision, if it was just box collision instead, this would make my life like so much easier. In fact, can I just... It's scary in there. I know! I have nightmares about I have nightmares about blueprinting sometimes. I mean, not anymore. I'm a grown up. This is just my work now. But like, in college, man, bro, I was seeing blueprint nodes in my dreams. I was seeing this isn't even bad, but but like what was it? Sonata Theory's narrative blueprints. So picture this, but each node is like a decision made in the game. And then if we were to zoom out like 10 more times and fill the screen, that's what I was like navigating the trenches of. I was like, oh, we added a new character in here, so I have to make sure they're referenced here, and then oh, that affects this, and I'm like dragging the spaghetti around, and I was like, I'm losing my mind. Where are my cubes? Lyra was so disgusting. me see, where all is the volume? Where all is this referenced? Components, yeah. Begin overlap. Begin end overlap. Here's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna duplicate. We're gonna duplicate this, call it pad_box. Stick with me, y'all. Stick with me. I'm going to add a box collision. And now anywhere where we have, well, let me look at the viewport first. Let me make him a little bit bigger by default so I can select it. Xenoblade X. You should, you know what? I bet you would genuinely be good at blueprint and like node scripting because you've navigated the Xenoblade X screen. Like, you'd be able to follow the logic legitimately because if you just think about it as a stat screen, anyone that was able to navigate the sphere grid in Final Fantasy X, download Unreal Engine right now. You'll catch on at some point. Maybe that's why I'm able to do visual scripting but not programming. It's just I played Final Fantasy X. Okay, let's add on begin overlap. We're gonna carefully we're gonna wait, what was everything connected to? Other actor, okay. Just gonna remove you. I'm not gonna delete the node. It's cleaner, you should delete it and be clean, but I like to sometimes leave old code so I know if something breaks later what the original was. But if you're working on a team, if it's someone else's work, archive it. If it's your old work, clean it up. It's just good manners. But yeah, if it's someone else's work, don't just go in and delete it. That has happened to me across like multiple levels of game dev. I've been like, where's my work? I'll be like, oh, gone, reduced to ashes. And the crazy thing is sometimes it will be like, oh, in sidebar, why isn't it working? And I'm like, you deleted the working. It's gone. And sometimes in college I would do that to myself. I'd be like, why isn't it working? And then I'd be like, I may have disconnected like 50 things at once. What happened? What did I do wrong? Now that we have, change it back to what? Effect heal. Do we get rid of volume? Do we delete it? Is it in use? Where is it in use still? Oh, you know what? I am gonna delete it. This is what did I just say? What did I just say? Why isn't it working? Who did this to my stuff? Alright, no references left. Cool. The reason I deleted it is I want to make sure this heal volume works. Alright, we have a box component version. So let's get rid of whatever I tried to do here. And let's replace with this. see how the box collision is expanding with it. Wow. It isn't as nice as sphere collision for sphere stuff, because you can see this corner sticking out here. That's yucky. I don't like that, but it is what it is. Actually, I'm gonna lower this. Our box collision in general, I'm just gonna edit the Z value of it. Can be a little closer. So it's like you have to stand right on it. Let's see if this is good enough. I don't like that corner sticking out over there, but oh, I don't like the corner sticking out here. Ah! Okay. Actually, I think what we just have to do is make sure it just follows the same format for everything. Make it lower, and that should help. Alright, a little buggy on the radius, but let me see if I'm trying my absolute best in standing in the water. But I'm still bad at the game. How long before they kill me? Why does the nav just give up randomly? That's something I've had across all my Lyra projects. It just doesn't want to anymore. Set both of these to hidden in game, that way we can still see them in our editor view, but when we hit G, which previews what it looks like to players, it's gone. Alright, but that's task 1 done. So we got that. Next, let's work with, let me save everything. Let's go back to our block out and let's work with this spline here. So this spline tool is part of this medieval castle bundle. Some art kits will have for if you have like a curvy type of thing that you want to custom make with mesh, but you don't want to custom create the art piece itself or stretch out the assets. Some kits will make splines, which lets you like modularly build out stuff using those kits. So that's what we're gonna do. Let me actually, I think this thing has been running on my 3DS for like a month now, the same lobby. Yep. Let me see out of curiosity how high the railing goes. Okay, it's about half the player height. I might make it a little taller for Lyra. I might make it crouching cover height. And I think it goes around the entire thing. There's an opening by the inner jump pad. There's an opening on the other side of the railings to give it a break. Okay, and there's occasional railing breaks throughout. So let me count how many. There's 1. There's 2, and then the third one is by the... Who killed me? It's by the thing. Cool. So break this up into smaller pieces then. So we just have to be careful. But let's get the starting point kind of close. Actually, I should make sure this is like the correct height we want it in the first place. I think actually, oh, this could be fun. I say this could be fun. Are those shots even hidden over there? Why is the Lyra camera like this? It'd be fun if the sights were not doo-doo. What the hell? But yeah, I like this mesh. I like the gaps in it. So you know what? We are gonna use it. And you can change the mesh out with like right here. So if we wanted to use like, I don't know, this one instead. Now you see, because this is like a slope, it doesn't work as well. You can technically put anything on a spline, but if you're not designing with the spline intended, it will just like repeat the asset like this. But this is like a wall, so it repeats it like that. Where are my spline points? Hello? There's you? So let's line up spline point number 1. Right there in the corner seems pretty good. I think there's then... I want to add a spline point a little closer. This is a good asset. I complained a bit about some of them, but I think I just wasn't using them properly. I've been watching my partner like work on an asset pack, and I'm like, oh, I wonder if there's any asset packs that could do these things that I own, that they weren't advertised clearly, so I never tried them out. I think once he's done with this, I want to get it and I control Z. The project's no more. GG. It's over. Actually, let me put the end point and then we'll focus on the other stuff. Ooh, it's broken. Actually, we don't need that spline point. Because if we have this one already, there's going to be a gap like right here. So this can be much shorter than I originally thought it would be. Much shorter. But yeah, once he's done with that pack, I kind of want to put it back in Fortnite Creative and go back and do that. Originally I was thinking I would like make a lot more maps than that this year, but I've really just been enjoying jumping back into Unreal 5. I do want to revisit Oz Tycoon, and I do want to maybe make one more polished map. Like, find out what we want our polished quality for our Tycoon maps in the future to be. Can I stop grabbing that one? Spline work is hard. I think that'll do for the moment. Also, if we needed to with the height, we could also just whoop for now. But for now, I'm just gonna line it up as is, and we can collectively move them all later. Doesn't it just show me these by picture anymore, like it does in Unreal 4? So let me put this over here so I can just duplicate from this. See where... Okay, so yeah, there's an opening here. Where in relation to that first blocker the gap is. I have to wait for my level to load. So there's kind of like a full thing that goes around the back of it. But we have this here as well. Actually, this is much shorter than I think the game one is. So let's only have 2 gaps then. And this, make it a little different. My cat banging on the door. Go ahead and rotate this around that way. Actually, maybe we won't have to. Let me try grabbing. Nope. Add a spline point there. Pull it out this way. Spline point here. We're getting somewhere now. We're getting somewhere. may not be the original destination, but it's a destination. Okay, this one needs to be angled in a lot more. That's not bad. That's not bad. Sheesh. This is a tower I would jump off of. Okay, so then it has a little gap here, and then I think we can continue it all the way. Ooh, I forgot I tore this off. So we can continue it all the way up to leaving a gap around the next jump pad here. And then we can continue it. Is it at the top of the tower too? I believe. I thought it was. Oh, there is a break near the top of the tower, but it does mostly continue up there. On to the next one. Spline work is very, very... I mean, it's simple enough. You see a point, you move it, but it's very tedious to get right. It kind of reminds me of taking animation classes and working with, like... I mean, that's all spline work too. But yeah, like making walk cycles and stuff. I was not good at animation at all. I feel like I could have been if I had spent like many more years and made that my priority and grew a brain cell in the process. But I am really glad I took all the animation courses I did in college, because I majored in game dev, right? Some of y'all know that because you were watching me stream in college and watching those breakdowns actively. But yeah, you have to have a few electives and you have to have a few selectives, and selectives means they have to be related to your major's department, so like computer graphics in my case, in some way, but they don't have to be necessarily required for your major. You just have to pick out some like kind of filler content that's related to your major, and that way it helps you focus on what you want to focus on. So say a programmer in the game development degree might have taken like heavier programming specific courses that aren't required to graduate, but they might have added those on as their selectives. I know they started up some similar like extra game dev courses that weren't required that you could take. They started one up for like production as like a production internship that one of my friends that was the producer on our capstone really took, and that helped him fuel his that's the wrong way love of production a lot. But yeah, being in level design, the level design course was a required course, so my selectives related to level design a bit closer were scripting and audio design, but I still had like 2 more slots to fill, and coincidentally the only difference between the game dev and animation courses was 2 courses to double major. So I ended up taking, I was like, how bad could it be? Several other game dev majors thought the same thing and ended up dropping the double major by like the last 2 years, because they're like, I want to sleep again and I would like to see my family once more. They were very tricky classes, but what it really taught me as a level designer was how to work with art, like artists, and how to like understand their perspective. So whenever I'm making an asset list for levels now, or whenever I'm designing stuff, sometimes they'll be like, oh yeah, do you want to just get to work on it right away? And I'll be like, well, I don't want art to crunch on this because I've been in their shoes doing the animation courses and stuff. It just kind of helped me see like the perspective from another department. And I think that was really good for me. I don't think I was the worst at it. Like, I did my homework for the class, and that's something I can't say for all of the classes I took. But, yeah, the later animation courses, you would think I would start to give up more as the courses got more difficult, but it actually encouraged me to be like, oh, I need to actually, like, rewatch this lecture and put more time into it. So I actually locked in for the last 2 animation courses I took. I really struggled with like the first half. And then the last 2 I took, I was like, this kind of fun now. Which is unfortunately where I think most people like dropped it ahead of time, was those 2 courses, right before those 2 courses. But the first one was like an actual kind of buildup of all the modeling and rigging and materials, and intro to animation courses. It was kind of like a buildup of all of those skills, and it was like to make an actual animation and to actually like animate full sequences and stuff in Maya. So that was fun. I did like a short little animatic, was not good at it. But I did my part in the project, and I also, because I knew I wasn't good at the animation, so I did like the environment design, and I did some of like the pacing design, and then the video editing. That was where my strong suit was in animation, was I'm like, hey, I hate to break it to you that I'm in your group. I'm a bit of a dum-dum, and I cannot draw. However, may I offer tech support and video editing? And they would be like, ooh. And those are the things that count at the last minute of a project. I can't do video editing until I have the animation, and the animation's getting delivered to me 10 minutes after the due date anyway, so I have to work extra fast. And then tech support stuff, like people will just hit you up in the middle of the night and be like, my computer broke, please tell me how to fix it. And I'm like, I'm not tech support actually, but here's what you should do. So all really good skills. All that came from me just doing this spline work here forever, and I'm like, if I don't talk about why it's taking so long, I'll lose my mind in the process. It'll be lost. I also had like I had a really fun professor my junior and senior year. She was she had like a background in like doing lighting for Disney movies, like modern Disney movies. So she had stuff from like Frozen and Frozen 2, and I think maybe even like some Zootopia. And like, even if you don't like those films, like the lighting in some of those scenes is gorgeous, and like those are the shots that are on her portfolio. And she was like really sweet and like quiet, and always very supportive of whatever I wanted to do, even when I showed her the most. Imagine showing a former Disney artist like your most just bonkers, no keyframed, just failures of work, and being like, so what do you think? When can I onboard for Disney? But she was very supportive, and one of the reasons I stuck with the animation program, even though I didn't have to. I was like, you know what? If she's gonna be my professor for the last 2 classes, then I can make it. I can push through. I don't know if I ever told her that, but if she ever sees this, you kept so many students staying, my lord. I think we got that. Now looking at it, I think, you know what, it might be too tall. They might be too tall. Let's run around it. Or it could be because we haven't art passed it yet, but yeah, I'm thinking I want these at half height, actually. We could try switching out to a mesh that's at a lower height. I can find one. Oh, that's a little low. That's a little incorrect there. Hold on. Look at some of these meshes. 101. Do we have any 0.5s? I don't think there are. If I can just, if I were to scale this down, how ugly does it get? What happened over here? Oh, it squeezed down. Oh, it just pushed them down too. No. It cannot be. I could also just lower everything a bit more without. Without being dramatic about it, I suppose. Unless, ooh, this one. Who are you? Who are you again? Come here. It doesn't have the little thingies, but that's the height I want. And that's closer to the original game anyway. We have these as cover in the fortress level a lot, as it is. You see, that's the beauty of a good spline, just being able to swap out the mesh. A lot of tedious work, yeah, but oh, this? Okay, now with the cover, this feels a lot better on the tower. It's coming together. Why is this corner so sharp here? Hold on a minute. Oh, it's from the... Because I pointed it all this way. Does that go through the whole thing? No. Oh, I did something wrong with the BSPs. Let me see if I can... I should have added a row of... No, you know, it's fine. It's fine. That's kind of a polish. That's a polished problem anyway. What do we have done? Yeah, cover on the tower, hot springs. So cover revisions and pickups are next. I almost want to do cover revisions first, but we're not going. We'll do pickups. So I want to put this. The cool weapon. We'll put it at the top of the tower. That way it's harder for enemies to get to as well, because sometimes they'll just run to this weapon and then they'll like glitch out and not be able to pick it up. And that'll just be that. Oh yeah, I forgot the second animation course, the last one, was actually it might have been because it was remote during COVID, but it ended up being like a very easy pass, easy 100, I think. It was a portfolio class, but because I'm a level designer, I had messaged her at the start of the semester. I'm like, hey, so I really want to lock down level design. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm interviewing for right now. Can I focus on making a level design portfolio, or do I have to have some like 3D assets made for that as a requirement? They're like nice to haves for me to do some environment art, but if I have to focus in on more level design stuff, since it's my portfolio, can I do that? You know, which seems like a very silly thing to ask as an adult trying to find work, but sometimes some college professors think they're high school teachers or something. They'll be like, you have to follow these rules, and it's like, it's my career. No, I don't. Like, who said? But yeah, she was like, yeah, and she extended that to everyone in the class. She's like, yeah, whatever, it doesn't have to be something you've learned in animation. Whatever you want to do your portfolio, like, just do that. So because it was an animation course, most people had either like models or like art on their page, or like, I think there were some tech artists that had like really cool tech artwork. But yeah, I think there might have been a handful of other people that made it to that the double major level, and also had game dev portfolios. Which I took like 2 other portfolio classes for my game dev part of the degree, like the 2 semesters prior to that, so I kind of already had the basics of it, but I wanted to make sure it was polished in terms of level design specifically. So basically how that class went was online. Every like week you would submit what you did to update your portfolio, and like it was mainly like update your portfolio, but also work on a big piece, like a big portfolio piece over the course of the semester, and share your updates. So that's when I did like the little team deathmatch set in a city with like the parking garage and everything. And I was like mainly practicing lighting and kit bashing for my animation credit of that. We also had to, because it was because it was a class, you know, we had to do like the community posts. So we had like this thing where you had to like leave feedback on the first 3 posts above you. And everyone in the class was really nice. There were some portfolios that were, I'll be real with y'all, and this is some portfolio advice I have for people also. There are mature subjects out there. There are mature fields in art especially that you can make tons of money from, and it's okay to express that. And there are places that do hire for that. If you want to get into the general, all ages, all demographics, animation, games, and entertainment industries, and you have some unrated types of models and some fetishes of yours front and center on your portfolio, just realize that is the first thing that like someone that maybe wants to hire you, maybe you decide you want to go into games and like get a basic like QA position or something to like start climbing the ladder. Maybe that's something that's the first thing they see. I have left feedback. I've left feedback on some 3D models of characters that were a little revealing, but I had to give constructive feedback because I want to help them. I want to help them. So I'm like, I literally wrote stuff like, I really like how this week the fur texture on her left butt cheek has drastically improved. It matches her ears now. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But it was when I was writing up feedback for the for my college course, and we were like trying to get into like these industry level stuff that I'm like, I was like almost waiting for like the professors to be like, I'm like, does someone say maybe have like a separate portfolio? Separate portfolios like commission work, and then your more like formal work I think is a great idea as well. That way if someone goes digging for the commission work, you can't say you didn't warn them, right? You had it in your own separate spot. I think for like general resumes and stuff, like have your portfolio be personalized to you and your work. That's the most important thing, is to show what makes you different from everyone else. But on your resume, make sure that still reads professionally. Even if you want to go into a field that seems more casual and will be more casual, it is better to lean towards the more professional side of things rather than too casual, because if you're too professional or too formal, then if people are being mean or like blacklisting you because of that, that's really more of a them problem and not somewhere you probably wanted to go back to anyway. But if you're too casual in a setting, like people remember that. People remember that and be like, especially if you're younger, you have to have the mindset of people are going to, if you're in school or fresh out of school, they're going to assume you're like, oh, these Gen Zs and Gen Alphas, they're so rude. They're going to, older folks, whether they intend to or not, may have that mentality going into interviews and stuff. And be like, these kids. So you want to be respectful of their time and make sure you showcase what work you can do for them. I don't know why I'm going into job advice. I think whenever I work on personal work, I feel like I start thinking about college, job hunt, stress. It's also good for me to remind, because I think every job industry is crazy right now. Games industry is one of the toughest right now, for sure. An insane, never before seen like amount of trauma going on in the game industry right now. But that being said, who's honking? Yeah, that being said, I know it's a tough economy for jobs in general right now. So you just gotta keep at it, put your best foot out there. I think that's why it always stays in the back of my mind. It's like, ever since I got laid off last year, it's just always like a fear, a new phobia now that I'll probably have for the rest of my life, because it happened to me in my 20s. Of like, what if this just all got taken away? Excellent. But it's good to be prepared. So just, when in doubt, always keep your portfolio and resume up to date, even if you think that won't happen to me. Keep it up to date. But also use that downtime to really, I think what helped me, as you guys saw on the channel last year, was I leaned into streaming a lot more. So maybe some of y'all are like, damn, she got a job. That's crazy. If you really liked my weekday content. I know that's why I had wondered, I'm like, my channel felt a lot stronger on the daily basis when I was in college, and then I know when I was living with my parents again, I couldn't really stream as often, and I was working a full-time AAA and AA industry, so often later as well. So my stream schedule was like very patchy for a few years. It still kind of is now, but I'm able to give you guys more of a heads up. Oh, health pickups. I'm like, what am I forgetting? I'm not gonna put as many of these since we have the hot spring. Maybe I'll just put like one at the top. Maybe I'll just put one over here. But yeah, I just used it to be like one of my last projects I had before like my first layoff ever in my life was a project that I wasn't getting to do level design on, unfortunately. I won't get into details because these are VODs that anyone can watch. You know? Confidentiality. I won't get into any details, but yeah, I wasn't getting to do level design so much, even though my title was level design. I had been promoted to level design 2, which is like intermediate second tier. And I had gotten like a promotion every year at that job. So I felt really good about myself, but then I was suddenly put in this position where I couldn't do anything creatively. And it was like that for like 2 or 3 months, where I went from the previous projects before that had very turbulent management, but like my core pods were some of the best people I've ever worked with in my life. Some people that are a part of my personal life forever came from those experiences, and yet yeah, to immediately be thrown into something where my hands were just tied creatively every day, and it felt like I was doing like, I guess almost was like daydreaming about doing secretary work. I'd be like, that must be nice. Sometimes I still do. I'm like, that you just organize stuff all that? Sheesh. Like, I love spreadsheets, man. Except the talking to people part. That's where it gets stressful to me. But yeah, it really burnt me out for a bit. So then once I was laid off, kind of the first thing I wanted to do once I gave myself like the grieving period was I'm like, I want to make what I want to make again. So that's why I started learning Fortnite Creative. That's why we jumped into Lyra and redid our pumpkin patch level and turned it into a portfolio piece. I think that really helped my confidence, and then we started doing weekly streams again. I was like, while I have the time, while I'm in between jobs, I might as well. I love streaming, so I'll dive into it. So even if it's something that doesn't last forever, finding your creative outlet, whether that's professionally or not, and just going for it whenever you have downtime in your life. Like, it will help turn a very dark period of time into one where you found yourself. This hot chocolate is hitting. I didn't put anything in it, but it's hitting. A local job is a lifeguard thing. Oh yeah, it wouldn't really start until summer. Yeah, local work, that's the hard thing is, like, I remember this time last year, especially everyone else I've gone through layoffs with, it was like, oh, well, I guess if needed to, I could always grab a part-time job. Like, that's always been the mindset, is if I can't get into a full-time job, I can always grab a part-time job. But, like, yo, I have a bachelor's, and I was applying for, like, some, not like local in-person like fast food, though I was getting ready to, like, probably I was planning to do that the month I got hired at my new place. I was like, if I don't get anything this month, I'm gonna have to start doing both freelance and part-time work, along with unemployment coming in. I'm like, it won't last forever, so I've got to find something now. But let's see where we need cover. I'm gonna play a bit while I yap. But yeah, the mindset's always been, well, it's just easy, I can just pick things up. But it's hard to find like any work, and then if you are able to find something like local, there's usually a reason that position is open in the first place in terms of how they'll treat you. So I don't know what's going on with jobs in the US, but I talk about not to be depressive or anything, but just to let people know, you know, if you're thinking like, am I doing something wrong? Am I crazy? You're absolutely not. The amount of hardworking and talented people I see still like looking for work just like haunts me so much. I'm like, what are we actually doing? The amount of cool things that I've seen or heard that have been canceled is heartbreaking. Ooh, I love this tower, man. The thing is, the enemies just kind of navigate towards each of these points, so I should put another one up here, shouldn't I? I'm gonna put another gun up here and see if that encourages more people to. So we'll put it like right next to here. What is my ice machine doing, man? It's not making ice, I'll tell you that. It might be making ice. Give me the ice machine's job. It can't be that hard. Just make the ice quietly, silently. Make the ice. It just beeped at me again once I said that. Ooh, I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose it. This wouldn't be happening to me if I feel so greedy because they announced like everything. Like almost everything a person could want at that Nintendo Direct they did. They addressed like all concerns except the prices. But other than that, they really addressed everything. Except Kid Icarus. In fact, they truly did announcing Sakurai and Kirby. They truly did put the nail in the coffin and said, y'all are never seeing that boy again. But I'm a huge Sakurai fan, so. And Kirby Air Ride is like, Kirby Air Ride's pretty fun. I say pretty fun. Some people it's like their all-time favorite game, and for good reason. To me, it kind of feels like the light versus dark mode in Kid Icarus, where it's something that has like such a good multiplayer gameplay loop, but it just didn't get supported long enough. So just over time, 'twas forgotten and left in the past. And multiplayer stuff, I feel like you can port and you can like remaster stuff, but unless you, or you can emulate it, I guess, but unless you like fully remake and heavily advertise it, you're not gonna get as, you need a big fan base for multiplayer stuff to really take off. So it's like, yeah, you still can technically play local with Kid Icarus, and yeah, you still can find a copy of Kirby Air Ride, but you're missing the audience part of your reaching your modern audience. So very excited to see that. We'll have to see what else releases in 2026, but maybe we'll pick it up. We're going... I don't make that much, y'all. I don't make that much. And my cat's medical bills are kind of piling up. We took him to the vet earlier this week for some ultrasounds, and it sounds like it's just some early kidney stuff, which isn't great, obviously, but if we just take care of him and try to like switch some things up, we should be able to just keep him healthy, which we've already been doing for like the past year. So it's just kind of continuing that, and he should be good. But yeah, we might take it if he doesn't improve with this next wave of like stuff we're trying, then he might need more tests, the poor guy. So yeah, that being said, there's still like, there's still a bunch of trips I want to take later this year, and Nintendo just announced that games are gonna be like $80, so we're gonna have to be very... I'm definitely still gonna get them, but we're gonna have to pick and choose which ones we play first, and when a Nintendo game's in my backlog, that means that I haven't bought it yet. It's not on my console. I mean, I am gonna be a lot better about playing Switch 2 games, I imagine, because if I'm spending $80 on them, that's not going in the backlog. That thing better have 100 hours of it. You checked the lifeguard application and accidentally told them you didn't graduate high school. I mean, how relevant of a question is it? I mean, in all seriousness, what I would do in that situation is just, resubmit the application. I think I actually had an issue with that on one of my first leads. Was a recruiter actually reached out to me for a place. So I was like really eager. It was like the day of layoffs. So I didn't actually like have a lot of stuff super ready yet. So I think I accidentally like sent them, I think like it, like the whole form auto-completed before I could attach my resume. And I think I like mentioned that. Like, I think what made it weird is that I like put a cover letter and I was like, you can learn more about this in my resume, and then I didn't attach it. And I was like, I was mortified. I think it was because, again, like the same day of being laid off from my first full-time job that I adored for many years. So I was like very just panic attack, like they're actually, this recruiter's actually gonna fly out and kill me because I didn't attach my resume and stuff. And it wouldn't let me edit the existing application or resubmit one. It had like a timer on it. So what I did was I just, I think I resubmitted under a different email, and then I, emailed the, or I messaged the recruiter and I'm like, hey, I just applied under a second email as well. This is what happened. And it was fine. I still got that initial interview. And I got a design test too. It kind of seemed like one of those places where they just kind of hire and they interview a lot of people to do a lot of like design and art tests before like making any serious decisions. So I don't know how far along I was actually, but I do know that the my initial fumble wasn't what caused it not to move forward. We lost. Well, that means I need to make the map better. Because yeah, we're definitely lacking some cover here. Question is, what do we want to do with it? If anything, I think sometimes it looks good if you make a mistake to be like, hey, I'm accounting for my mistake and I have worked quickly to fix it. You don't want to be like too panicky and be like, oh my gosh, did you see I fixed it? Did you see? But you want to be like, I have formally taken care of the issue that was presented. You're welcome. I will start on Monday for $2 million. I don't know if that'll work either, but I think what we need here is we need some sight lines running along here. We have these rocks in the original game. They're not turds. They're not Korok seeds. They're rocks. Very kind of ugly rocks from the original game. I want to get a really ugly material to put on them, but they're there. I think we can maybe have some cover along like the ridges here. Just kind of down this hill, and I think we could fill more rocks. Just this side of the map looks really empty. And if I go to it in Kid Icarus, something we'll do, one of the first things we'll do when we start designer arting this up is replacing the blockout grid texture on the landscape with, I want to find or make a landscape material that, when you like scale it, it will change the color based on the height, and it will also like have a different material displayed for if it's steep, so like the side of a mountain cut out. So that'll help it look a little better. I'm looking at it in here, and I think this area is actually a lot smaller than I made it, and does a lot more with like verticality. So yeah, maybe we slim this down and we like ramp one of these up a bit and we make a, let's do some landscape work here. Yeah, I think we could redo the landscape in this corner a bit, add more rocks around here, and then add some kind of cover coming down here. And then this, I do want to leave the pool open now that we've made it a hot spring. I want you to be very vulnerable there as well. High risk, high reward type of thing. And then the tower feels really good with the cover, so we're gonna leave that there. So glad we pointed this out. Would have felt stupid if they invited you and asked if you were still in high school at 19. Hey, I mean, some of those classes, pre-cal ain't easy. Calculus? Full calculus? Like, I used to love math so much. Full calculus just absolutely destroyed me. The same way like the honors English program destroyed my love of reading. Math lasted a little bit longer, but calculus just... I've taken it 3 times in my life. I've gotten just barely passing. Technically, I should have failed the first time I took a calculus course. I technically did grade-wise, and then the teacher made a deal with me in high school. He's like, he's like, because you've been working on like getting help on this stuff like every day in lunch, he's like, I will give you like the 2 bonus points you need on this exam to curve you back up to passing. So I wouldn't have failed the class that I would have needed to retake in it, but I would have failed it for my diploma level. And I wouldn't have been able to get the diploma I did. So he's like, I will curve it just enough so that you can still like get a diploma and not be held back or have to retake it, or lose the diploma or whatever. But he was like, you have to promise me you won't take this, because it was like calculus AP BC, which is like college level, and then BC is the harder version of it. I don't know what the difference between AB and BC is. hence why I shouldn't have been in BC. But the college level already, and then the harder version of it, he's like, you need to transfer down to not the lowest level they offered, but he was like, you need to transfer to calculus APAB for your second semester. And I was so desperate, I agreed. I was like, I don't want to be in here next semester either. And actually, for the first half of that semester, it was like all this, they had just gotten to the point. Like where they got for their second semester was like what we had covered the first 2 weeks of the BC calculus class. So I actually started to get it, but we hit like the part that I was struggling with. I don't even remember what it was because I was so stressed. So we hit that part like near the end of the semester and my grades started to drop again, but I had the credit build up that I still got like a C or a low B. Maybe I might have been able to pass by, but I do think I did badly on the final in high school. So even though I took both at the AP level, I failed the AP exam, so I didn't get the college credit. So the best they could, I got to bypass pre-calculus because I had that credit covered in college, but for a computer graphics degree in college, I had to take up to calculus 1, which I guess would be the equivalent of AB. And I didn't go to class because the girls, I'm gonna be real, the girls in my class annoyed me. So I didn't go to class. And then I got a C. I got a C and just barely passed the class, and you have to get all C's on like required courses for your major in college. So first semester I almost folded. Hello, loaded guns. I'm sorry to re-traumatize you. How are you doing before I re-traumatized you with calc? I mean, maybe it's inspirational. I still don't know what calculus is about, but I'm able to work in games and I'm able to exist as a human being. So it does get better. You just gotta make it through the class. I just started on pre-calc. Not so well at all today. Pre-calc's kind of weird. I feel like some areas of it are like, oh yeah, this is pretty easy, and then other areas, I think it's when they start talking about, is that when they introduce imaginary numbers? I think I genuinely got angry the first time. Like, the teacher wrote imagine the letter I, and she's like, solve for I, and I'm like, oh, like another variable? She's like, no, this is an imaginary number, and I'm like, now what do you mean I can handle the alphabet being in my mathematics because I like algebra, but what do you mean imaginary numbers? Where did it go? Where did it go? Where did the number go? I still don't know what that is all about. God. Calc 1 is easier than pre-calc. They do feel a bit different. I think for me, pre-calc was still easier. I think pre-calc's a little more like geometry, and calculus is a little more like calculus-based physics and a little more sciencey. So I think it depends what part of your brain likes which more. I was also very bad at physics, and I got that was another class I took in high school and in college, and I didn't do well either time. I did do better than I did in my calculus classes. I got like high C's, but still not great. I think it also killed me because I was like hello, is it picking up my stuff? I'm like eldest daughter, and we're like, my family's part Asian, so we're mixed, right? And I'm the eldest daughter, so there was like all this, oh, landscape too. For a while I was an honors student, I was always a straight A student, I was always like getting awards and stuff, and then when the physics and calculus stuff started, there was suddenly a decline in my abilities. And I think that hit me hard because I'm like, I'm not supposed to be a failure. And I had to actually, it was a good learning experience because a lot of things prior to that for me, I kind of never really had to learn anything. A lot of things came naturally to me in other subjects, so I never learned how to learn in the first place. So once I started doing bad, I was like, why am I doing bad? I just don't get it, and I don't know how to make myself better. So yeah, that all kind of just taught me I need to learn how to actually study. I need to learn how to actually take notes on stuff. Horrible, horrible way to find out that you don't the school system failed you and you don't actually know what's going on in any subjects, but it was a lesson I was glad I learned in high school and freshman year of college rather than, you know, as a grown adult being like, wait a minute, something's off. You've gone back to school to get your bachelor's in computer science. Ooh. Yeah, those math classes aren't fun. I get upset that they put so many math classes in computer degrees. Like, I get why there's numbers that make the computer run. I get it, but I don't like the numbers. I'm a fan of Lost, so the numbers be speaking to me sometimes, and I don't like it. That's not good. Or is it? You know, we never really know with Lost. Thank you for the follow, Loaded Guns. But yeah, I graduated college with my bachelor's in game design and development. Oh god, how long ago was it? I think almost 4 years ago now. And I've been working as a level designer in the industry ever since. I did a few years working AAA and AA titles. I had like a big AAA title and then a few AA titles that never really got announced and as far as I know never shipped, unfortunately. But I did get to work on the original, or no, I worked on the DLC. The team was working on the base game for Tiny Tina's Wonderlands before I joined, but I got to work on some of the arena levels for it, so that was fun. So I do have that credit, and now I'm currently working at a company working on an SCP title. So I get to make some spooky stuff. And let me tell you, nothing has been as scary as the numbers yet. In all my career. Nothing's been as scary as a calculus class. Asian math stereotype is BS. I feel like a lot of people in our family, Cup Drinker here is my cousin. But yeah, I feel like a lot of our generation in the family struggles with math. I think I'm the one that like has handled it the best, and calculus like just reduced me to nothing, so I don't know where that stereotype got that idea, but it failed us badly. It failed us so badly. If the numbers talk, is that good or bad? I mean, if they'd tell me the answer to the question. For fun, to try to like reignite my love of math, I actually do like there's like a little math thing on Duolingo, and it's like it's very basic math. I don't think they have calculus, but I'll do them as little brain teasers each day. I don't do Wordle, but like doing like the quick challenges on Duolingo, that's my Wordle, I guess. Because I don't know why, when I see people doing Wordle, maybe I'm just too much of a cheat. But I'm like, can't you just look up the answer? Like, that's the first thing I think is like, just look it up. And they're like, no, you have to guess it. And I'm like, why? It's not being scored. They're like, it's fun. And I'm like, I can just play Animal Crossing and torture a villager if I want to have fun every day. That's my routine. But then I do algebra on Duolingo, so I'm really no better. Sister's kind of good at it, but she's a good student. I hope her like good student streak. I hope she's able to stay strong and persevere. She's very bright, very hardworking. Her academic future shines. But all I know is that when we crash hard. So I hope that she's able to. Is she taking any calculus courses yet? If so, I need her to teach me. Yeah, I've got faith in her, but I wonder, because either I'll be there for moral support if calculus breaks her, but if she embraces the imaginary numbers and the differentials, whatever those are, I would like to know I would like her to teach me. It might genuinely help me in my work too. I'll be like, hey, so what does I mean? She's doing stats? Get her out of there! Save her! She's doing stats. I took stats once. My experience with stats was kind of crazy. I thought I was getting it. That's one of my required math courses. You think it would be easier because it's a lot of like graphs and it's a lot of visual data. I thought I would love stats because I love organization and I'm a level designer. I love game design. I love the spreadsheets of it. So I really thought I would like stats. I think it could have just been like the lectures we taught. He was nice, but we had like this really old guy that just kind of like, he didn't have the slides up anywhere, so it was really just what you wrote down, and then like the tests were nothing that we covered on the exam slides, so I was a little confused. This ramp is not supposed to be this wide. Let me see where I can bring it in. But yeah, I think the best description of stats came from, I had a friend, shout out to Patui on Twitch. She and I lived together for some years in college. She's one of my college besties. I actually just met up with her at like Disney this year. Had a college reunion. Got to introduce him to my boyfriend. And we got to all ride Tron, which was sick as hell. So shout out to her. She's also our emote artist. I didn't draw these emotes. I can't draw. But yeah, she didn't go to any, bless her heart, she did not go to any lectures or do much of the homework. So it was the night before an exam. And I was trying to teach her everything that we learned. We were having a study session in my dorm. And I asked her a question. I was like, okay, so do you know what to do if like this falls here on the bell curve? How would you solve it? And she genuinely looked up at me and she said, what the hell is a bell curve? She's like, what is that? And I'm like, Patui, I'm like pointing at the picture. I'm like, this is what the entire class is about how to read this. Like, it's about reading graphs in general, right? But if there's one thing you need to know about statistics, it's the bell curve. That's the even, like, distribution of data that you'll find in the majority of all experimentation known to mankind. She's like, what is it? And I'm like, oh, they taught this in the description of the class. But that's not the crazy part. She did better on me on the exam. She did better. I taught her She studied off of me and I taught her everything she needed to know for the exam. Like an entire semester's worth of work I taught her in one night. And she did better and I did not do well on it. And I was like, there's something's not right. I can't take exams anymore. So it may not be that bad, but just know it, if it is, you're gonna have a hell of a story. She tells that story on her channel too sometimes. She'll be like, yo, Emily helped me out with an exam and then she didn't do well. She's like, which is crazy because I still don't know what any of that information means. It's probably way more relevant to me being in game design. She's an artist. That's something that the artists in the like the more traditional artists in our games program got screwed over on a bit, was they had to take like all these math courses and they're like, I do not need to use math to draw booba, please. I don't want to take this course. Some of our required courses kind of felt like if you gave someone that didn't know what video games were, like a college curriculum to fill out, and you're like, what do you think an electronic gamer would need to take? And they're like, oh well, that sounds like fancy. They need to know math and science, and they need to know web design and UX development and stuff, but also put their art stuff down as curriculars and make them take like an extra English course and stuff. So they had all of that on the curriculum. They changed it now because my class actually petitioned for them to change it. But they I didn't actually get to open Unreal Engine and learn about it and how to use it until my second year of college. The first year of the game development program I was in didn't have you open a game editor or take a game-specific course at all. The entire freshman year, it was not in the curriculum. Thank you, friends you made along the way, for the follow. I'm guessing you like the title of the stream. I was gonna say, is this the Kid Icarus? What were you doing during the direct, bud? We missed you. Where are you? It's been years. Your family wants you to come home. Oh, okay. It's cool, guys. Kid Icarus is in Chile. A false alarm. We're all good. Let me drag some of these. Do I have any? Are there any rock assets in this castle thing? I feel like there might be. Nope. There is debris though. I might slap some debris down here and give it the brown material. The kids need you, Kid Icarus. How are you doing on this Thursday night? Friday morning, wherever you are in the world. Thursday morning? I don't know how time zones work. You follow titles with this account? I was gonna say, I'm like, well, someone's either stalking me, wow, and just made up a username on the spot, or we must have a gimmick going on here. But yeah, I try to switch up the titles to whatever I'm feeling goofy-wise for the stream. These evening streams I do for game development are usually more like, I had a long day of work, brain, whatever the first phrase to pop into my brain is, that's what the stream's titled. You're following more than 2K people? Oh my goodness. That sounds fun though. You must get to see like a wide variety of content that way. Because they're all the friends you made along the way. That's actually, that's really wholesome. Am I gonna cry? Gotten all kinds of reactions, mostly good. Some bad? Ooh, what's an example of a spicy reaction you had? I think what a bad reaction would be. I mean, I've definitely had some like gimmick accounts. I think when I first started streaming, there were definitely a few gimmick accounts, but in like the "you're gonna do something for me for my YouTube edit," or "I'm going to send a hate rage your way," and it's like, I'm just here trying to play some Nintendo games. What the hell? So maybe it's an association with that, but I think there's a lot of fun gimmick accounts out there, so. Especially one where you're making friends along the way. What's like that quote from WandaVision? Which I think is a quote from something else, but I love WandaVision, so. What is Twitch if not friends persevering? We have like some, where are the longer curvy pieces I have of this? Where did the curves go? I just saw them. Ooh, we could put like kind of maybe a destroyed house. Put like some debris over here. Kind of like the idea of having just something here in the center. There was a streamer whose title was "Maybe the cringe was the friends we made along the way." Asked them why am I cringe? They proceeded to say that's really cringe and banned you. That's pretty funny. If you're gonna get banned, that's definitely the way to go. They chose the meme over the friends though. I'm so sometimes in life you're faced with that. You could either make a really funny joke, but at the expense of friendship. But if the joke's really funny, if it's really funny. But yeah, here I'm a variety channel, so I'm a game developer, a level designer professionally, but I like to do personal work and just kind of mess around with new ideas. And I'm also a Nintendo fan, so we play a lot of Nintendo games on the channel. So hence why that's kind of all combined into, since Nintendo's not remaking Kid Icarus apparently anytime soon, I'll take matters into my own hand and remake some of the arena maps as stress relief. I could start I could start these up as a working on Kid Icarus arenas every day until Nintendo announces a remake. That's actually a good idea, and we see how much of the game I remake before they get a remake. It would probably connect me to this work for the rest of my life, I think. But eventually we'd have a remake. I think I could finish it over like maybe I have 50 years or something left to live, if we're being generous. I think I could make it on my own over the course of 50 years. For the PS 2000. See, where are the lower Kirby pieces? Still want those. Someone showed you like a trophy that anyone knew entering this stream. Everyone look at this dude. Yeah, that sounds like a fun way to adventure through the internet. The internet's a crazy and a dangerous place, yet you travel onward nonetheless. I admire your efforts. I have too much social anxiety to do that, but I can admire it. Where's your child support? Hey, cup drinker, Kid Icarus is gone. Sakurai's not coming back, man. You know that man's getting put on the next Smash game. On Smash 6 immediately. Once Air Riders drops, they're taking him into the back rooms again. But again, I'm no hate to the Kirby fans out there. I'm very excited, and I'm also, most importantly, I'm glad it seems like Sakurai, since they saved that as that was a bigger reveal than Air Riders itself, was that Sakurai was the director. So I'm glad he's able to do his work to Smash is like life-changing, obviously, but I can tell he's wanted to get into something like new gameplay-wise and like give him some narrative and like cutscene flexibility again before jumping back into Smash one day. Even though he's wanted to retire, he keeps saying he's going to retire. And he keeps showing back up in the Nintendo Directs. This man's been trying to retire like my whole life. But if he's going to keep up at it, I think Kirby's an excellent way. Because Kirby's his baby. That's how he made his start, was Kirby. So it's only fitting to like reveal Switch 2 and give him that title drop. Yeah, I've been really thinking about if I'm able to get a Switch 2 on launch, right? Then, so we'll set this back a little bit so you can run to it on either side. And yeah, obviously Mario Kart's the must-have and the must-stream. I didn't stream Chapter 2 of it on release. And we haven't streamed official Chapter 1 because I mentioned it in the last stream, but last I streamed Deltarune. It was my first time playing it, but it was back when it was just survey program to download to your PC. Before anyone knew what Deltarune was, it was just Toby Fox dropped a survey for people on the internet, and then it was like, oh my god, this is a successor, a full successor to Undertale and his dream game that he wants to make. Like, that whole reveal. I got to experience that, but I did play Chapter 2 off stream, just because it had been a while since we had done the I think we played Deltarune my first year of streaming, so it's been a minute. It's been like 5 years or something, probably. What other assets do we want to throw in here? Oh, here's the curved pieces. Yeah, curved pieces. but I did really enjoy playing Deltarune on my own for a bit, because I'm like, hey, there's no... Sometimes the Undertale community can be a bit backseaty, even though that shouldn't apply to Deltarune. Sometimes it spills over, so when Chapter 2 dropped, I'm like, I just want to be able to experience it without any backseating, without any risk of spoilers. And it was amazing. But I am tempted to stream Chapter 3 and 4 and to replay 1 and 2 leading up to that. Because they are perfect, like, reaction games, especially for first playthroughs, and I wouldn't mind having that, like, documented. That whole experience and playthrough. I guess we'll just have to see what the stream schedule looks like in June. Because we'll also be heavily playing Fantasy Life I, because I've been waiting for a new Fantasy Life game forever. And it's finally here. Maybe we won't connect these. Move this back up here. Jacksepticeye, his government name? Refusing to play Deltarune because of the community. Yeah, I think it's not a full refusal. I won't say I'll never do it, because I ended up having a very positive... I played Undertale as well, both the true pacifist route and the genocide route. And that actually was really fun. We had a very fun and very... I think that was one of the first big boosts in number that got us to affiliate, was Undertale and Deltarune. So we got really lucky and had a really great community. So if any of you guys following the channel came from that, this is not a dig at my experience streaming it, because I had a wonderful time with it. But it is also a thing where those games... it's kind of how I feel about Baldur's Gate 3, which I haven't played yet because I want to do a playthrough of it with my partner and just play it off stream and enjoy it. And if I really like it, I'd love to do like a no dice roll type of thing on stream one day. But again, games are expensive, so I need that thing to go on sale for like 50% or something before I pick it up. Because it's such a popular game, I have faith that it will go on sale one day. Just keeping an eye out for it. But yeah, in a similar vein where it's like very important that you let the player mess up on a first playthrough and you let them experience things and make their own choices. Like part of the appeal of the whole driving force of Undertale is that every choice matters, and then the narrative of Deltarune is completely opposed to that, and they tell you repeatedly, I won't spoil it too much, but they tell you repeatedly your choices do not matter, even though they keep letting you choose them. To drive home that hopelessness of it, it's still important you try to make the choice in the first place. So when people are in chats backseating and saying, no, you're playing the game wrong, it's very disrespectful to the player and to the developers as well, because they designed it in a way. There's no wrong way to play it. The point is that you mess up and that you make a fool of yourself, right? So that you can have the narrative tell you that, and you can face consequences for that. Especially with new players, if you were to go in and be like, why aren't you doing the genocide route on their first playthrough? It's just as bad to be like, oh, you killed something, you just messed up the ending, here's how to get it, blah blah blah. Like, don't tell them that. Don't give them this list of like, don't give them a like sidebar of like mission items to do. It's not that type of game. If it was, they would have a quest log on the screen for you. So yeah, I am really tempted to play it. I do really want to. I think for like our community here, I think you guys would all be very respectful and enjoy the game along with me, especially if we played 3 and 4 on launch. It's like, well, that's the thing. If I didn't stream it on launch, I'd want to play it on launch off stream, because I'm sure there's gonna be I think TikTok's gonna be a minefield with spoilers. So I'm like, I can't risk it. But yeah, we might just have to have a few like channel rules in place, or I do always have like the hot button on Twitch to like switch into like safe mode. Not just for like any hate rates or anything, but just like spoilers as well. So yeah, I will keep you guys updated on what the June schedule is. That depends on if we get a Switch, when it would arrive, what other things we're playing, what RD's health is with his medical stuff, where like I'm traveling for the month, how things are going in fantasy life, how things are going with me at like work, if I'm like ending up working later nights at that month or not. Whole lot of factors in the air, but if we were to play Deltarune, it would either happen on release day for 3 and 4, or we would wait to stream it until the rest of the chapters come out, even though I'm aware that's probably several years out before the game's fully complete. If we have to wait that long. Might be the friends along the way, but I'm ready to erase the R of that word. Friends. The fiends? The fiends! Evil mode. But yeah, whenever someone like... That's why we have a general no backseating rule. I do sometimes lighten that up. If I'm like ever directly stuck in an area in a game, I'll ask chat directly and let them know it's not a hypothetical question. Or like light advice or people's opinions on different things are always welcome, but yeah, I always consider backseating also just like if it's a spoiler about gameplay, that counts as a full spoiler to me too. I think the only time I ever had to specify that on the channel was a bit during some of the Final Fantasy VII Remake games. Or I think maybe Final Fantasy in general, people being like, why don't you have this build yet? This item is obtained, like, in this chapter. And I'm like, because I'm not on that chapter yet, and I didn't know the item was in the game. But I've played 7, so I was waiting to see where that item would show up in the game, and now I know. But I didn't want to know yet, I wanted to find it out. So that can be the hard thing about streaming games on release, is I love having my reactions, like, recorded. And being able to go back and reference them and to see like my just raw reaction and emotional feedback from the game. That's a very personal and special thing to have, and that's why I like Twitch so much. But the downside is you do always risk it just takes one person to just run in and ruin that at any given point. So it is a bit of a risk, but I do think we've built up a really nice community here. You guys are like, you've gotten really good about that. I know I struggled a lot with that my first few years of Twitch, even with people being really nice. Sometimes just establishing those boundaries and rules was really hard for me. But I think I'm at a good place now with it. Safe words are popular for backseating. Ooh, that's a good idea. The backseating word. I feel like that's probably also a good idea for like mods also, to have like the ban safe word where if someone's like really getting to you, be like, alright, take the shot. Get them out of here. We're a smaller channel, so I do have like a lot of my close friends are mods, for just in case like my hands were tied and I wasn't able to access chat and one of them was around, I would be able to be like, I think some of them, Patui mostly has been the one to wield the ban hammer. She'll be like, is this guy bothering you? I'd be like, yeah, kill him. Kill him. Backseating safe word should be bomb. Well, you see, I use bombs a lot in games, so I would unfortunately be allowing a lot more backseating. That's our like go-to item in Tears of the Kingdom. Are you kidding me? I'd be cooked. We're about to play Mario Kart World when it drops. Be absolutely cooked with backseating. Ooh, an unsafe word. You say it and you get banned, and it changes every day. That kind of reminds me of those like good night to everyone except videos where they'll get like increasingly specific. It'll be like, good night to anyone except if you have a 9 in your phone number. Good night to anyone except if you ordered a Happy Meal from McDonald's last week, but for somebody else. And like they'll get increasingly more specific, but it always grabs up. There's always going to be like somebody out there in the world that has done that thing. And it's like, damn. I think I'm gonna make this like a lane of things. Yeah, do that. I feel like there should be something here. Do an arched piece over. Ooh, do a little arched piece right here. Watching this makes you want to go back to Blender. I'm kind of tempted to learn Blender. I learned Maya in college for 3D modeling. I was starting to get the hang of it, but I kind of gave up on continuing to learn 3D art because, which I really should, because I like the visual side of level design. I think it's my favorite. I'm getting really good with experience-wise. Like, I've worked on the combat for like Gearbox stuff, right? And then arena combat and like mission flow in general are things that have always been on my portfolio. But my heart lies with environment and like layout stuff. A lot, which is shape language, which would be improved by learning 3D art. But Maya crashes every time you blink at it. It'll be like, I'm going to corrupt your work now. Goodbye. And it drove me insane. Like, I had the student license in college, and the day my student license expired and I couldn't use it anymore, I threw a party. I celebrated. I was like, the evil's been defeated. But I know Blender can do a lot of stuff, like not just 3D modeling. I know that's like the equivalent everyone thinks of is like, oh, it's like free Maya. But I know it can do a ton of other stuff too. So it's like, I've wanted to try Blender again. My partner actually learned Blender, like a year or two ago. How long has he learned Blender now? And it feels like such a flex. He's like, oh my gosh, I can do things so much easier now. And I'm like, I don't know how to do that. I know sometimes if my friends wanted to scare me in college, they'd like open Maya in front of me. I'd be like, blinding. Also, hello, Natsack. How are you doing tonight? You're an engineer, so you use mostly 3D modeling stuff. Yeah, I think maybe that could be a fun, like, weekend game dev stream. I tried to do that once, I think, one of my first years of streaming while I was still in college, so I was trying to genuinely learn it, and it didn't go well, so I gave up. But I know there's like the dude that does all of the like how to create a donut in Blender tutorials that he updates every year. I should try that again. now as a seasoned industry vet, I should try to make that damn donut. I think actually I got the modeling okay, but I couldn't get the sprinkles to populate right. And it was when I was having trouble with the color of the sprinkles didn't turn out, like shading weight and lighting wise the way I wanted, that I think I broke down, because that's when it crossed the line for me. Like, if the sprinkles aren't in the right spot, or they're shaped weirdly fine, but if I can't make them pretty, oh lord, start just crying. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Makes good tutorials. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I followed some of his tutorials for other stuff before. Yeah, they're like when I think of Blender, I think everyone thinks of the donut tutorial. Oh, don't think you've made the donut. Let me know how difficult can a donut really be? I've had a list of like short like weekend game dev stream ideas. Hot Spring saved me! Hot Spring saved me! Okay, it's good it didn't fully save me. I don't want the water to be too OP. I think the cover is helping the AI move around a bit too. This is playing much smoother than it was at the start of the day. But yeah, I think Blender's an idea. Doing another like Fortnite creative game jams, another idea I've had. I'd like to get back into pixel art one day. I don't know if I'm ready to stream that ever. I don't know what possessed him to do this yesterday. My partner, we did like a little like couples activity thing where you like draw the other person in 5 minutes. But he's an artist. He's an artist, man, and I'm a love designer. I don't know what I drew. I didn't even look at the paper. So I can't draw characters, and I think that's what started to put me off of pixel art, is because I was like, as I thought I needed to make more detailed characters and like character animations, I started to struggle with it, and then I was like, oh, I can't do this anymore, I'll never be good at it. But on the environment and like the shading side of things, I really liked it. So I would be open to revisiting pixel art one day. I can't guarantee a stream of that anytime soon, but I think I used to do some pixel art on stream. My first 2 years of streaming. My best creation was a little like bird for one of college game dev projects. We made like a knockoff of Flappy Bird called Floopy Boyd. So I made like this really derpy looking bird, and I gave it like a basic flying animation. And I have it on a sticker on my computer. I was so proud of that. The crazy thing is, the professor that made the stickers made a bunch of them and just kind of put them out in the hallway. And there was like maybe 5 of each like design people submitted. And there was only like 2 of the Floopy Boyds left. So I got one, and I think one of my friends grabbed one as well. It might have been Patui. But yeah, we were looking and counting them, and we're like, some random person that I don't know in this department, like 3 of them, now have this random derpy Flappy Bird knockoff just on their laptop or something because they thought it was cool. I think that's beautiful. I wouldn't mind doing a video editing direct stream. Nintendo Direct. But I wouldn't mind doing a video editing stream. I'm starting to, for those of you that are in the channel Discord or subscribed, you know this already, but I am starting to work on, I want to do like monthly short YouTube essays. I know sometimes people hear YouTube essays and you think 6 to 7 hours on like a TV show, because I'm guilty of watching a lot of those. But I'm thinking like 10 to 30 minute max, I would think. Just like really quick YouTube videos about like random game dev fixations. I want 10-hour essays. I mean, if I had the time, if I had more time, I would love to try doing a long essay of something genuinely. But I think I need to practice sticking to a upload schedule more first. But I won't rule it out. I can promise if I ever do a 10-hour essay about something, it will be something really niche and really specific and really weird. It'll be like why the PB&J sandwich I had in 10th grade radicalized me. And the thumbnail will be like, I don't know, a picture from Word Girl or something. Like, I can promise it'll be something that has not been presented on the internet before. But I gotta work my way up to that. So I'm working on 2 videos for this month actually. I'm going to do seasonal compilations of, we've been playing through Elden Ring for the first time on the channel on like a monthly basis. So I'm going to make a compilation of our first 3 months of Elden Ring, which is I think like our first 20 hours in the game. So I will make a compilation of those best moments, aka I really want to document how many times I've died so far. And my reactions to moments like the tutorial and the boss fights that we've done. I want to try to make compilations for like any time we're in the middle of a big playthrough or when we finish a full playthrough, so I do want to make one for our life sim collection that we're going through right now and all of the channel lore associated with that. And maybe for stuff like Fantasy Life, we'll probably have a compilation of the whole thing eventually. Why am I playing this again? Wait, I'm supposed to be developing the map. What am I doing? Oh, I didn't put these... I put these in the blockout level. Here's what we'll do. I need to move these to a separate level. Because these pieces... Thank you for the follow, Pasnik. Much appreciated. But these pieces of cover are not in the original arena for Kid Icarus Uprising, right? So I want to add them because they work a lot better, as you guys can see. It breaks up the flow a lot better in our Lyra template, even though they wouldn't have made sense in the original game. So to have a difference between what the original level looked like versus what alterations we've made, I'm going to make a new empty level. We'll name it LKIST Cover Revisions. We'll set that to always loaded. And we're going to start just grabbing these and adding them to it. I'm the actual friends made along the way. We got moved to the main account. Let's go. Well, thank you so much for bumping me to the main account. This is an honor. But yeah, working on the Elden Ring compilation. Other compilations, I won't promise on a monthly basis. They'll just kind of happen whenever we have the content to make them happen. But for a monthly basis, I want to try starting on the... I'm gonna aim for like the end of each month. But the first video, like essay I'm doing is on tutorialization in games. I'm still narrowing down the games I'm gonna cover in that one because I made a starter script and it's about 20 minutes, but it covers like 10 different games, and I'm like, oh, I'd have to get game footage for all of those. So I'm trying to reel it back a little more. But move selected actors to level. Yes. Oh no, what happened? What happened to your booty? No. That's okay. Oh, he's back. But yeah, the reason I'm doing tutorialization in games is because there's some games, for me, like, especially being in game design, I think the best tutorials in games, as a sneak peek of the content I'm thinking of, is when you don't have a text box, is when you actually do an action and see a result, and now you have muscle memory associated with that. And I love Final Fantasy, but Final Fantasy games are the most guilty of this. They'll be like, do you want to know how to play the game? We'll put you in a corner in just a circle arena. We give you like 12 pages of text to look through. Don't let you implement that in the real environment. We put you in a simulation. And then you start the game, but you have all this stuff you try to like study and remember, but you haven't actually applied it. Much like how actual studying works is, you learn a lot faster if you're actually working on something and not just like reading through lecture notes. So I'm doing that because Elden Ring will be mentioned as both a positive example and a negative example. As a new Soulsborne player, and a first-time Elden Ring player, the tutorial text boxes didn't help me a lot because it was just a lot to take in, especially with the amount of lore in the game. It's a lot to take in for a new person. But the layout and the open world design and the limited HUD, it does the exact opposite. It's fantastic at teaching you action and consequence. So it both has a very like pet peeve tutorialization thing for me that I struggle with, but it also does some things really strongly and like the best in the industry even. So Elden Ring will return. It will be mentioned again in that video. But the reason I'm making the video is because I played the Stranger of Paradise, like the FF1 Origin game. I played that demo years ago when it came out, and I thought everyone would hate it because I really struggled with it, but Soulsborne players really loved it. And I was confused like what I was missing, and I realized it's because I didn't learn how to play the game. Like the tutorial did exactly what I mentioned earlier, where it gives you a big text box and you have to read through all of it and practice those moves, and then they just throw you into the map. So I knew how to do these combos, but I forgot all of them. And then even when I did remember, I didn't know where they should be applied in the game because it was just too much and too little information all at once, and then nothing. I think I should replay the demo. I'll have to get footage anyway, but to also reformulate my thoughts on it. And I've never actually played the full game, so it could be different in the main game. I'll specify the demo in the video, but yeah, it sticks with me. I'm like, whenever I get like a giant text box that pauses gameplay, I'm like, why are we doing this? I want to play the game. So I'm making a video about it. And I know it's hypocritical of me because like my first indie title that I did in college, I subverted that by not even doing a tutorial in the game, and no one knew how to play it. And it's very unoptimized. So I know I will be very guilty of the things I mention in the video. But all the more importance for me to make the video is for me to learn from it as well, I think. Oh my gosh, what is my cat doing? He's behind the monitor. Oh, he wants his crunchies. We'll have to wrap up here soon because he is demanding his crunches. Oh, he's pretending he's not interested. This dude just crawled behind my monitors. He's pretending he don't care. But yeah, I think we're about done for the day. I think we are going to do another gameplay stream before we move on to like doing a material pass and then doing a more detailed pass of this, and then revisiting art on our other map that we've been working on. That will be our focus for like the second half of this month and the first half of May. And then we'll take a brief break at the end of May just to focus on Fantasy Life, but game dev streams aren't going anywhere. We'll be back with them. But we may have a brief like Nintendo hype intermission at the start of the summer. But we'll make sure all of these first 2 arena maps are in a good spot. But yeah, I think I want to do one more gameplay thing. If I have time over the next week, I will want to try to mess with some of the Lyra values to make it more melee focused. And up the health a bit. Otherwise, yeah, otherwise we can just kind of debug and tweak some of the cover. Like, this is a really good start, but I think there's more we can do to alter it and make it play better. So I do want to do another gameplay focused stream. And again, I've shifted these game dev evenings from Wednesday night to Thursday nights. Judging by how tonight went, I think Thursday nights are going pretty well. And they work out for me currently better work-wise and personal life-wise. So we're gonna keep trying Thursday nights for game dev streams. And yeah, it was great meeting you too. Thanks for everybody that actually we had a good amount of follows. I do have a follower goal to play Sonic Generations at 400 followers. I did not take into account that we might hit that. So I'll keep an eye on Sonic Generations prices just in case we hit that. We have a trend of having like follower goals be Sonic games just for torture reasons. We've played Sonic 06, Sonic Boom, and Sonic Forces, but I want to play Generations next so we can actually play a good Sonic game finally. If I don't end up liking it after these past 3 Sonic games, that would be devastating, but yeah, this is our other map that we've worked on, the Forgotten City map, which is much further along, but visually still in need of a lot of polish. It plays exactly how I want it to now, but it still needs a lot of visual polish on it. I want to add foliage, and I want to make it I'm not an artist, but I want to make it look a bit prettier than this and do another lighting pass, so that is what to look forward to on future game dev streams. Otherwise, I told you guys about the YouTube schedule and our weekend schedule. I'm planning to stream on both Saturday and Sunday. Hopefully we can stream Sims 3 on Saturday and then some Sims 4 on Sunday. I will keep you guys updated on the schedule. Those might both be a bit earlier in the day because my mom just texted and asked if we want to go see the Minecraft movie this weekend. And Chicken Jockey, you know? So I may make I'll try to make them like evening plans, like around dinner, so I can still do a quick morning stream each day this weekend. I'll keep y'all updated if I end up having to bail for some Minecraft. It's gonna be a horrible movie, I know, I'm so excited. But yeah, I will leave you guys with the tunes, and I hope to see you guys all in the next one. Until then, good night everybody.